The Woodfield Mall has a thriving dining pavilion, but one place I rarely ever see anyone in line for is the Pho Cafe. Now, I'm a lover of pho. I love Vietnamese food in general, but pho from a food court is something I have to admit I'm a little skeptical about. Add to that I never see anyone in line for this place. My curiosity was piqued, but I was a little bit cautious. In my mind, there was no way a bowl of pho from a mall food court could be anywhere near quality. But I did look up this place and I saw that they also have a Chinatown location and it has a 4-star Yelp rating. I take that with a grain of salt, but I thought that was worth something. So I decided to give it a try. I'm going to bring you guys along with me. I'm ordering the House Special #1 and I'm going to show you exactly how it comes in a takeout order and I will give you my thorough review of it. So let's check it out. So this took about 5 to 7 minutes to be ready, but it was overall a pretty speedy pickup. There was nobody else in line. And like I said, I went with the House Special. It came out to $18.69 after tax, so you can ignore the $11 price point on their website. That needs to be updated. It's $13.99 pre-tax at the Woodfield Mall. You can see it comes with some garnishings. It also came with a bag of sprouts. The broth was separate and it was piping hot. And it came with rare beef, shank beef, tripe, beef tender, and meatball. Of course, in a separate bag, you get your pho noodles, you get the piping hot broth, and you get the bean sprouts. The rare beef cooked almost instantly upon the broth cooking it. It was that hot. It actually wasn't even edible at first. I would have completely burnt my mouth, so I had to wait a few minutes, which I was cool with. Squeezed some lime in there, and I would say the broth overall was very aromatic in flavor. Pretty indicative of a solid pho broth. Is it the best pho broth I've ever had? I can't quite say that, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. I found the meats to be sufficiently tender. My favorite was probably the meatball, actually. I found that to be quite flavorful. The tripe was enjoyable for me, too. I didn't think I would enjoy that as much as I did. It has kind of a chewy texture, but I found it to contribute some nice flavors overall. The noodles, to me, were a little bit lacking in the most ideal texture. They were a little bit mushy, so I would recommend you add those right before you're going to eat it. If the broth is too hot, don't let them sit in the hot broth. They will just get too soft to be super enjoyable, in my opinion. One complaint is that I wish there was more cilantro added. I got this one measly leaf. There definitely was more cilantro infused in the flavor. And I also enjoyed the fact that there were jalapenos added. It gave it a nice kick, but not an overwhelming kick for my personal preferences. The broth was really solid to me overall. They also give you a packet of hoisin sauce. I added that to the broth and I found it to give everything a more robust flavor overall, so I would recommend that too. Squeeze that lime in for sure. All things considered, I shouldn't have put the noodles in as early as I did, perhaps. They were a little bit mushy overall. They weren't the worst pho noodles I've ever had. They're not going to be the best pho noodles in the world by any means. But I can say overall that this was a solid bowl of pho. I think the $18.69 price point after tax is a little lofty. I don't think it quite warrants that price. If it was actually $13.99 after tax, I could definitely work with that. That's pretty standard, if not a good deal for a bowl of pho. But the tax do be taxing in this case. All of those things considered, I think this is a solid 6 out of 10. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a good, solid bowl of pho. If you're craving that when you're at the Woodfield Mall, I think this will get the job done. But do know it will be at a little bit of a taxed price point. That is all I have to say today. I hope this review helped. And even though I never see anyone in line at this Pho Cafe, I think that could just be because they know the prices are that lofty. If the prices came down a little bit, it might be a lot more popular. With that said, thanks for tuning in. I look forward to chatting in the comments as always. Stay tuned for more mall content, more retail walkthroughs, more walking tours in general, and I will see you in the very next video. Peace.